So thank you very much, everybody, and it's a pleasure to be here. My name is Demi Ben Ari, as Renan mentioned. I'm one of the co-founders and the CTO of Panarrays. And I would like to tell a bit about the platform and what we do at Panarrays and what problem we're solving as a company and the great cooperation that we've had also with the Taiwanese market in general, with our partners. And also, as an example, we will take TSMC as a customer that we onboarded to the platform. So I would say that Ofer and Nimrod also mentioned a lot about processes that exist today between different kinds of corporations of security companies and maybe also different kinds of products. And the supply chain aspect was mentioned because we're using a lot of different kinds of tools. And this actually introduces a lot of risk and a lot of security vulnerabilities that are introduced by our supply chain. You're also hearing that with a lot of use cases of third-party breaches that impact really large organizations in the world. And also, they don't need any specific access to internal platforms because a lot of that, because of the cloud adoption, are SaaS services. And you're hearing that seriously every week. More than 60% of organizations in the world today actually admit that they had some kind of third-party breach in the last 5 or 3 years. And a lot of organizations mention that they have more than, or like I would say, around 200 plus vendors or third parties that they're engaging with. And a lot of regulations, data privacy regulations were mentioned, and a lot of cybersecurity frameworks also were mentioned. All of them actually mandate and tell you that you need to protect your supply chain and different kinds of third-party relationships that you have. And most of the processes until today to actually cover that and lower risk were managed a lot by manual tools, manual security questionnaires, time consuming, really expensive, do not scale, and are one off in the manner of doing an assessment process. There are the security rating services also, external engines that evaluate the security posture of any organizations. And sometimes people actually claim a lot about the false positive rate in these types of tools. Panorama is actually created, and this is again the platform and the services that we're providing as a company of creating a 360-degree assessment process with all of your third-party relationships. And when I'm saying third parties, it can mean a lot of things. It can be different kinds of use cases. Vendors is one of them. It can be different kinds of business partners that have credentials to our own internal organization. It can be subsidiary companies and also with M&A purposes. We have customers ranging from all of these various use cases, but eventually the tools, the building blocks of this process is something that we've incorporated together in a single platform. And you don't have to buy 3 or even sometimes 4 different platforms to have a process. We have the external assessment, the engine that actually evaluates and does continuous monitoring on the third parties, the automated and dynamic security questionnaires that are tailor-made to the relationship, and the real business impact that is derived by that type of relationships. And by creating an assembly of this whole process, we're creating the real cyber risk ratings out of that engagement. And it's not over there. Nimrod also mentioned a really important thing in the matter of response. How you respond, how you communicate, how you remediate is super important. And this is another process that is introduced in the platform to do business in a secure manner. We actually invite all of the third parties to the platform to collaborate with our customers and actually deal lower risk and improve the security posture of the whole industry and the whole world. This whole process is assembled by a really simple step and something that actually creates continuous monitoring. We have the assessment process assembled with all the pieces of the puzzle, the engagement with the vendors and the third parties, and communicating over the platform, having an audit trail, remediating the relevant risks and the relevant vulnerabilities that are introduced, and actually creating an approval process, a managerial approval or rejection process of these third parties. And eventually, having the continuous monitoring is super important because of cloud adoption, over-changing infrastructure, and all of the pieces of the puzzle that actually always change. We have to have an engine that actually understands the external posture, understands which services the third parties are also using, the fourth parties, and creating a process that actually closes the loop. and doing that over and over again. The key benefits of Panorays is actually automating the full process and automating that with thousands, tens of thousands, and hundreds of thousands of vendors that really large customers actually have, creating rapid evaluations and doing things in a secure manner, integrating with different kinds of solutions. And Ofer mentioned that really amazingly of the ecosystem that is being created right now in the cybersecurity industry. So we're also integrating with adjacent worlds like the worlds of GRC, like the world of data mapping, and again, different kinds of tools of identifying shadow IT also. And we've shortened that life cycle of engaging with third parties that used to take weeks, sometimes even months, to an average around 8 to 9 days, which is pretty amazing when you're looking on a wide range of vendors. And TSMC, as an example, they have thousands of vendors in the platform, and they have even tens of thousands of vendors in general that they would like to also onboard. And this saves time and a really large effort also. And of course, like I mentioned, key factor in cybersecurity is communication, and we want to incorporate that whole process with full collaboration with your vendors in the platform. And again, mentions in Gartner, Forrester, and all sorts of even like social media manners, people understand that this is a problem. And this is something that people need to tackle because the attacks today are being really, really sophisticated. And the supply chain attacks that are being mentioned, you can mention SolarWinds, Kaseya, but even hacks like Okta, which is a really common cybersecurity tool, they were breached. Okta was breached by one of their service providers that provide customer success, and they caused an impact on all of their customer base, which is amazing. And you know how many security people actually installed Okta as an IDP? And I want to focus on the who has the problem. And we mentioned the cooperation that we've had also in the Taiwanese market. And I'll take the example of TSMC, but we have many more customers in that aspect because it's a really large company and we provide the services and we know the benefits of the platform. But with the help of iSecurity and also of Tip Ventures as partners and great partners also in Taiwan, we've managed to actually successfully present the platform, present the benefits of the system and the technology, communicate with the customer, with the partner being the face in front of the customer. And you know how rigorous the processes are usually when you're evaluating a tool, and especially a technology tool. And we have been able to overcome all of these challenges together and really try to show the customer the value of the platform. And we signed a long-term deal. It was a process. It was an educational process of showing them the platform and actually adopting that. And we've managed to onboard a customer in the size of TSMC. Renan, correct me if I'm wrong. It was like around 2 weeks. Okay, which is again quite unheard of when you're looking on a really large enterprise adopting any technology. And I wanted to show you this slide because basically every industry has the problem of third-party security and supply chain security. And it's not a tool that is focused on one thing, but it can give a lot of benefit for multiple types of industries. And this is really only a select few of our customers actually leveraging the abilities and improving their security posture. And with that, I think I will finish. Thank you very much. And if you have any other questions, you can send me an email.